mm Yummy, yummy, yummy. Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Spiritual Remedy. My name is Sunshine Day, and I am your spiritual living coach. I absolutely see a world where people in recovery, where clean and sober people, where people who are looking to live a different life and get away from the weapons of mass distraction are living their best life and loving it. And so, what I get to do is I get to provide spiritual tools and loving support for your personal transformation. That's why I come to you every Monday. And so here we are today on another Monday in June 2022. And what's up, Nancy? Good to see you this morning. Glad you're joining us today. I want to talk today about triggers and celebrations. And the reason why I wanted to talk about triggers and celebrations is because so many times we're on track. People are on track. They are moving away from the weapons of mass distraction, right? Weapons of mass distraction. And they're like, oh, I'm going to go to the gym, or oh, I'm going to walk, or oh, I'm not going to drink, I'm not going to use, I'm not, going to overeat, I'm not going to engage in random sex, I'm not going to, gamble, I'm not going to, whatever it is that folks are trying to get away from. The moment that you make a decision to change your life, all of a sudden these little triggers and temptations and these things come up. Or it's time to celebrate. Hey, graduation. Hey, it's Father's Day. It's Juneteenth. Hey, let's celebrate. And again, the triggers, come up. So whether it's triggers or celebrations. Good morning, Iris. So good to have you with us today. Thank you so much for joining us. Feliz día para ti también. Un placer tenerte aquí conmigo esta mañana. These triggers or sometimes these celebrations are also like weapons of mass distraction. Hey, Jess, thanks for joining me. Love you, love you, love you. Um, so what do you do? What do you do when you're on a path of growth and unfoldment and you're faced with a trigger? You're faced with something that just like, oh, I laugh because I think about was it Chris Rock or the other Chris Tucker in New Jack City? It just keeps calling me, man. It just keeps calling me. Right? When we're on a path of recovery, we're on a path where we're celebrating our health and our wholeness, and then we get these triggers. Or somebody wants to celebrate and they want to take you out to eat, and you're doing things in a different way. What's up, Cindy? So glad to have you with us today. I love you big. So what do we do? What do we do when we're on that path? What do you do? Go ahead and type into the chat if you had that experience where you're on an eating plan, or you're looking to stay healthy, or you're not drinking anymore, not using anymore, and these things trigger you. What is your go-to? Um, because I'm not going to be the only expert here. I know some of us have had many, many life experiences with these things, and this is indeed a circle of support. But what I can share with you right away, and why the show is called A Spiritual Remedy, it's called A Spiritual Remedy because to any single situation or circumstance, there is always a spiritual remedy. And so what is remedy? Remedy is a solution. Remedy is that remedy is like that chicken soup for whatever the problem is. And if you're a vegetarian like me or a pescatarian like me and you don't eat chicken, it's like a good soup. It's like a good broth. It's that thing that soothes the soul. So the remedy is of a spiritual nature. Now, how I define spirituality is anything that affirms your life. So what affirms your living? Of course, drinking and drugging does not affirm your living. it actually destroys your living, right? Cutting, hurting, arguing does not affirm your life. It actually detracts from your life. It distracts you from your living. So a spiritual remedy for triggers is the 3 S's. Now, many of you are familiar with my 3 S's, right? I say use the 3 S's so you don't become an S. That's my little humor in the mornings, right? Use the S's so you don't become an S. And so what are the 3 S's? So the first one is slow down. Even in matters of life and death, thank you. Slow down, be still, be silent. Even in matters of life and death, what's so important is to be fully present. But when we're talking about triggers and we're talking about things that are just going to push you off of your path of recovery, your path of sobriety, your path of abstinence, your path of health and wholeness, your path of love, your path of joy, your path of peace, what you want to do is that when there is something triggering, you want to slow down. Just slow down. Kind of go, wait a minute. You want to be still and you want to be silent. And in those 3 S's of slow down, be still, be silent, there, by just that simple shift, you can begin to have a change of mind, a change of heart. You can begin to see clearly what is for my highest and best in this situation, and simply pause in that slowing down, be still, be silent. What is for the highest and best in this moment? And allow the answers to well up from within you. Now, if you be like many of us, right? And like the cartoons will show the little devil and the little angel, one on each side, and they both got an ear to go to because we got 2 ears, and one is like, do it. One is like, don't do it. You're only gonna hurt yourself. And we're like, go ahead, you need to have some fun. It's time to celebrate. It's June. You done that. But the other was like, no, don't do it. You're gonna regret it later. That's what happens in my head. I don't know what happens in your head. But it's like, okay, both of you go away for a little while, right? The idea is by slowing down, being still, being silent, and asking that question. What is for my highest and best here? What is for the highest and best of all involved here? Is that you get an opportunity to listen to the still small voice. The still small voice, which means that all the chatter and all of that stuff that society will tell us right away, you want to be able to listen past that to the still small voice. Because what I know is that within you is that I am presence. That I am presence is source. That I am presence, some people may call it their God consciousness. Some people may call it living spirit. Some people may call it God itself. Whatever you call it, there is within you that GPS, that global positioning system, or that God power system, or that good power system, or that guidance power system. It is the guidance, the internal guidance, that still small voice. But when we're ripping and running, and when we're in motion all the time, and we haven't practiced slowing down, being still, being silent, we're not necessarily attuned to hearing that still small voice, that still small guidance that is for our highest and best. And that's why it's so important to pause when agitated. You like the GPS, Deborah Love. I love you. How's Asheville? I love you so much. That GPS, right, It's just, when I get in my car and I don't know where I'm going and I set my GPS, yeah, there are times where I'd be like, quiet down, I'm going to go this way. But it lovingly says rerouting. Okay, you want to do it that way? Okay, rerouting. You still want to get to the destination, and it lovingly, gently reroutes me. Had I been the designer of GPS, oh my goodness, it would have been like, yo, you going the wrong way. What you doing? Why you not listening to me? If you don't listen to me, I'm not going to talk to you. It would have had some superlatives up in there, whatever. But our own GPS guides us. It guides us to our highest and our best. And that's why it's so important to slow down, be still, be silent. And so what I'd like us to do in this moment, since we didn't do it at the beginning of the show, since I just jumped right on in, I'd like us to practice accessing our GPS. Many of you already know how to access your GPS. Many of you use your GPS on a daily basis, several times a day. And many of us actually don't trust the GPS. I remember when those Garmin's first came out, and it's just like, can I really trust that this is telling me the right way to go? And after practicing and practicing and practicing, I don't think twice about putting it on and trusting that it takes me there. Even though sometimes I haven't even gotten to the right place. And it's just like, what's going on with the satellites and what's happening? And yet I have entrusted it to guide me, even though it's guided me in the wrong place. What I want to tell you is that this internal GPS, when we're listening to the correct, still small voice, will always guide us to what is for our highest and our best. And it might not seem that way at first because we have an idea of what it should look like. And that word should, we get to stop shoulding on ourselves and each other. We get to deal in the reality. Should is like not accepting what is. And so let's take a moment. I will come and see you, Deborah Love. I will come back. Don't worry. I'm thinking about it. And so I definitely want to get back to North Carolina over there. All right. All right. So if you're in a safe place where you can pause for a moment, the invitation is to slow down. The invitation is to gently close your eyes. The invitation is to continue to breathe normally and naturally. So we've just slowed down. We're being still. And we're being silent. Of course, there's going to be noises around us, people, places, things making sounds. And it's just a confirmation that we're alive. So we don't curse them. We don't tell them to be quiet. We just focus right here. And if you have a situation or a problem, bring it to mind and just simply ask, what is for the highest and best regarding this situation? Reveal to me what is for the highest and best in this situation. Or reveal to me what is for my highest and best on this day that I might pay extra attention to. And let's just be still and be silent for a bit. and see what comes for you. Be still, be silent. We're slowing down. What's for the highest and best for me today? If you find your mind wandering, just ask the question again. Internal guidance system. What is for my highest and best today? What is the route to take with this particular problem or situation or circumstance? And let's just spend another minute. If you find yourself drifting, just ask the question again. And as you gently open your eyes, do so from that place of gratitude. Grateful for whatever message you got. Welcome, Paul. And practice this. This is a practice. I had to practice using my GPS. And particularly, that slow down, be still, be silent, accessing that internal GPS, my internal guidance system. This summer, because we're approaching summer, right? Like summer solstice is coming. God placing securely my message. Oh, I love that, Nancy. I like the way you use GPS. What does GPS mean for you? Beautiful. Beautiful. Jesse, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so now as we're, beginning to just kind of sign off, I love that you spent this 20 minutes with me today. You use your GPS this week. Use the 3 S's this week, especially when we're triggered. Especially like, when someone says something foul or when somebody cuts us off or when, there are situations where we're like, we want to go back to what we are staying away from. When we slow down or be still, be silent. Oh, you're welcome, Deborah. I love holding this space every Monday, 9 a.m. Pacific. Yeah. When things trigger us, or sometimes we're in celebration mode and want to go off our plan or want to go, divert from what has been working for us for so long. It's just important. It's important for us to recognize the trigger or the celebration that takes us off of our being, that takes us off of how we want to live and what we're setting up for ourselves. Celebrations can be a lovely, lovely way to enjoy life. And we get to stick to whatever it is that we're doing so that we can enjoy our lives. Because that's what it's about. I see a world where people in recovery, where people who are steering away from their weapons of mass distraction are living their best life and loving it. So Jesse, the significance of my shirt is 525,600 minutes. That's how many minutes there are in a year of a life. So how do you celebrate a year in the life? So it comes from the musical Rent. So if I might go 525,600 minutes, how do you measure a year? So we measure it in love. We measure it in life. We measure it in cups of coffee. We measure it in our times together. And that's why I do the show. It's a spiritual remedy to whatever it is that ails us. All right. Until next week, know that you are loved. Get with me. I want to hang out with some of you. I want to be with some of you and spend some time walking and talking, having coffee, having a meal together, having some Zoom time together, really supporting one another on our journey and on our path. So until next week, know that you are loved. Bye for now. I love you.